Okay, we're back for part 2 of Calculus, Chapter 0, Prerequisites, AP Calculus AB, Linear Functions or Models. So what we're going to do is we're going to look just briefly at parallel lines and the relationship that you have between parallel lines. And you can see that we have a slope 1 and a slope 2. And you can see that the two lines, line 1 and line 2, are parallel. And you also have this little angle. It's referred to as the angle of inclination. And you can kind of see that if you go 1 unit out, you go 1 unit out in both cases, that the rise is actually then your slope, okay? But in this case, M1 will be equal to M2, as you know, if the two lines L1 and L2 are parallel, okay? So, and moving on from there, we also have the relationship between perpendicular lines. And you have a kind of a little proof in here of what would happen if you flip the relationship. You can see line 1 and line 2 are perpendicular. So you have that the slope of line 1 is then going to be A over B. Then the slope of line 2 then has to be negative B over A. It's opposite reciprocal. So keeping that in mind, we'll be dealing with a lot of slope in calculus this year. But just being familiar with that. So if we write equations for linear functions, we want to find an equation for the line through 3, 5. We'll take a second and do this. But we want it to be parallel to the line with equation y is equal to 2x minus 8. So this is for review. Pause it, try it out, and we'll come back and do it. Okay, so checking with this one now, you have find an equation. So again, we'll use the point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to, we could use y sub 0 or y sub 1, is equal to m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. We want to begin with the end in mind and say, well, we have an equation we want to write, but we want this equation to be parallel. So we have m1 is equal to 2. Then we want m2 to be equal to 2 also. So we've got, let me thin out my pen a little bit. So our equation then would be y minus y1. Well, we have the point, here's our x1, y1. So 5, y minus 5 is equal to 2 times the quantity x minus 3. There's our equation, and that equation is in point slope form, and that would be fine if you just ask for the equation for a line. You could also solve it. Y is equal to 2x minus 6 plus 5, giving you the equation y is equal to 2x minus 1. Oops. Okay. So whichever is more preferred for you. Point slope is great because you're done with it. You just dump the information in. The equation parallel to 2x minus 8 is 2x minus 1. And let's move on. Okay, write the equation for linear functions. Take a second, pause your video, do the work, and come back and we'll check it together. Okay, in this we're going to check it, find the equation for the line with x-intercept 6 and perpendicular to the line with the equation 2x plus y is equal to 7. So if it has the x-intercept of 6, then I'm going to say that the point is 6, 0. So I'm going to solve this equation for y, and just noting that it's y is equal to negative 2x plus 7. And since it's solved for y, I can see that the slope 1, let me see. So we're going to say the slope here, slope 1 is equal to negative 2. So in this case now, slope 2, we want slope 2 to be the opposite reciprocal, so it's got to be 1/2. And so you should have started out and said, okay, so for the equation, you would have y minus, here's your x1, y1. So y minus 0 is equal to 1/2, a positive 1/2, times the quantity x minus 6. So we get the equation y is equal to 1/2 times the quantity x minus 6, or we have, or in slope-intercept form, so we have this is a valid answer, and even the one above is a valid answer as well. Or we have y is equal to 1/2 x minus 3. either equation is fine.